You wanna see what we do best?
We got the recipe for success. We don't need sight to make something good tonight. We're on in the kitchen. We're gonna show you what we got. Full of a spice of love. We're stirring up the pot. We're cooking without looking. Cooking without looking. Yeah!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another fun edition of the Cooking Without Looking TV show. I'm your host, Alan Preston. Sylvia?
And I'm your other host, Sylvia Stinson Perez.
Hey, Sylvia. I hear through the grapevine that today is your birthday. Is that right? Well, happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Alan.
And I've also heard through the grapevine that today you are officially a published author. Would you like to tell us about your book?
Sure. I'm super excited, and it is called Treading the Waters of Life. And it's on Kindle, on Amazon for Kindle, and it's also on my website for free as a download. There's a blog that kind of goes with it. And the website is totalimpactpartners.com. So I'm really excited and hope that it will really impact people and help them live their dreams and goals.
Well, excellent. It sounds interesting. Well, we hope you have an absolutely wonderful birthday today. And we really appreciate you being here with us on your very special day.
Thank you.
Today, we are very fortunate to have Anthony Corona. Anthony is going to prepare his marvelous meatloaf, an extra special version of a traditional favorite.
Hello. Anthony, hello. We're so glad to have you, Anthony.
Thank you so much. Hello, 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 and happy birthday.
Thank you.
Aren't I lucky? I got to see you twice this week.
Now you better own what that is about, Anthony.
Well, 1 p.m. on Sunday, you'll be on Sunday Edition talking about your book and your journey through life and some special projects. And you can get that on 2020 The Beacon or look for Above the Fold, the Sunday Edition group on Facebook for more information.
Thanks. So, Anthony, we're so excited to have you here today. So, share with us a little bit about your sight loss journey.
Well, I'm about 9.5 years in. I lost my eyesight due to complications of shingles. Rather than presenting on my body, it was in the tissues in my ears, my eyes, and my brain tissues. I ended up at one point, they had to drill a hole to relieve the pressure off my skull. And in the course of 3 days, I went from basically 20/20 with contacts in to having basically nothing at all.
Wow.
And it's been a journey. Up until that point, I was the East Coast entertainment editor for the Associated Press. I'm now working in advocacy, and life is interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think you've overcome incredibly well. So you're doing good things in the world too. So
thank you. It's all due to my guide dog Bodie and my partner Gabriel, for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. So today I know you're going to be making meatloaf, and Renee did a little research on meatloaf because I think when we think about meatloaf, we're like, oh, that's a typical American thing, meatloaf and mashed potatoes. And it actually is like a German Nordic background. And the US version it comes from scrapple, which I don't know if anybody's ever had scrapple. It's like this, honestly, it is just kind of like what it sounds like. They throw a bunch of different meats together with cornmeal. I tried it one time up in the Northeast. Let's just say it wasn't that good. So meatloaf is way better. So we are excited. And I heard you say that this is one of your favorite meals. So I can't wait to hear about your meatloaf. So tell us.
This is so I do two different versions of this. I do like the during the week at home for us version, and then of course I do the company magical meatloaf. And the company magical meatloaf is infused with mozzarella cheese and bacon. So this comes from my grandmother Marie, her recipe box, or at least the base of it comes from her. But just about everything I've learned how to make came from, that influence. Both of my grandmothers were amazing cooks. So I'm the kind of person who likes to gather all my ingredients and get everything together before I start cooking. And it works out well because, making a meatloaf can be a little time consuming. I'm also, I'm one of those people that cooks 3 or 4 meals on Sundays so that we have it for throughout the week. And I'll do a lot of ingredients for multiple meals and maybe just put them aside already pre. So I don't know how much you can actually see of the counter, but I basically have all the
See any
ingredients.
part of the counter, Anthony?
I'm sorry.
I said I don't see any part of the counter.
So I'm going to hold up a little bit. This is some of the bacon that's already prepared, ripped up to go into the meatloaf itself, of course, with the eggs that I need. This is the plate that I cooked the bacon on. I removed all of the paper toweling, and because we need two versions, some of the bacon has already been used. This will be used to cap off later. This is my ripped up Italian bread. These are some onions and a little bit of garlic. I use marinara sauce, one of my sauces, which you'll see here. But crushed tomatoes or even ketchup can be used depending on your taste preferences.
Do you make your own marinara sauce?
Oh my God, yes.
Okay.
My grandmother would posthumously slap me up the back of the head with a wooden spoon if I didn't. Yeah. And there's always, at least 4 or 5 Tupperware of sauce in the freezer because I make a mother sauce whenever I'm making one so that it's much easier. So now I'm just going to chop up one onion or 1/2 of the onion to kind of show you the size and consistency that I like. When I'm making the company meatloaf, I tend to slice the onions up a lot smaller than I do for just us. We're all onion lovers in this household. So I basically split the onion in half, slice it across the width a bunch of times, and then across again to get little sections. I already pre-soaked the first piece of Italian bread in milk, and so that it's already in there with my meatloaf. Add the onions, and basically add all of the wet ingredients at first. So I will go with my 2 eggs. And then my marinara sauce, which for this is about 2/3 a cup. I don't measure out fully because what I like to do is add a little extra bread at the end to soak up the moisture to even out the consistency of the meatloaf.
Hey, Anthony, would you mind talking a little bit about the consistency of what the meatloaf kind of should feel like before you add that extra layer on top? Because I think that's a hard thing for people to really get what that feels like.
And it's important in the finished product.
It is.
It is very important in the finished product. So, when you're adding your additional bread, that's where you need the consistency to be, because you don't want any actual pieces of bread, because those will burn inside the meatloaf and change the flavor. So you want the bread completely immersed into the meatloaf mixture. And I basically say, as long as I can pick it up and it sticks to my hand, that's the consistency that I'm looking for. And I'll show you that.
That's an awesome method. Wow.
Yeah, if it's dripping off your hand, add more bread and mix it. You don't want any chunks of bread because that will change the flavor of it. I'm holding Worcestershire sauce. We're Worcestershire lovers in this house, so I'm going to do about 4 shakes of this. If you're not a big fan of Worcestershire sauce, you don't need to use it at all. Or, if you want to do just 2 little squirts to get it. And then and then you start mixing.
You mix it with your hands?
I am mixing with my hands. Yes, I washed right before we came on air. So the like I said, the piece of Italian bread with the that was soaked in the milk is in there first. We're going to add the dry bread in a little while. At this point, if you can see, as I'm holding it up, some of it is dripping off. So I'm not going to need to add too much bread to this to get the consistency that I'm looking for. But also, for those of us, for all of us, working with onions can be interesting. For those of us that are blind, sometimes they don't always come all the way apart. So this is a good way to squeeze and make sure that your onion is evenly distributed throughout the mixture as well.
No big pieces.
The pieces, yeah.
Yeah.
So not only are you squeezing to mix everything together, but you're also squeezing to make sure that the onions, are coming apart, if they weren't fully loosened when you cut them, and also to make sure that you're evenly distributing them. So from that point, and let me give you a kind of a look. Can you guys see that?
Hold the audio now unmuted.
All right. I'm going to assume that you guys could. And that's when I add my salt, pepper, and oregano, which I already pre-mixed. And then again, just the key is to mix it for a good 5 minutes at least to make sure that you have it even, all of your spicing, your Worcestershire, your onions, and of course that the bread is fully immersed throughout the meat mixture. And you might see I am pulling apart a few of the stubborn pieces of onion while I am doing this. So at this point, that's when I will start to add the rest of my Italian bread into the mix. And again, just squeezing it through my fingers, really getting it all in there. And this is the bread is soaking up the consistency of the egg, and the egg you use to kind of bind it all together, and the ketchup or crushed tomatoes or marinara sauce, depending on what you use. I do find though that with the marinara sauce and a little bit of extra garlic really puts a kick to this, especially with the bacon and the mozzarella. And as you probably saw, and I'll show it again when we take out the finished product, I keep a little bit of sauce to drizzle across the top once it's finished. So, 2/3 of a cup is what I put into the meatloaf itself, and then have about 1/3 a cup to pour over the finished product. And, you usually take meatloaf out and let it sit for about 15 minutes before you start serving it. So the sauce will kind of immerse itself into the loaf. And it really hits a nice flavoring to it.
Well, I don't know if I could leave mine sit up 15 minutes before I got into it.
But a lot of things are that way. You need to let them sit for a little bit because it really does soak in the flavors.
Yeah.
Some things are better the next day even because it soaks those flavors.
I have a question.
Meatloaf is definitely better the next day. Lasagna, all of those kind of dishes.
When you put
meatloaf is an awful lot like stew and chili. You can add what you like to it, sort of, right?
Yep. I know a lot of people that like to add red parsley flakes to it. Once you've got bacon and mozzarella going, with the marinara sauce, I think that's all the flavoring it needs personally. And I have never heard anything other than, thanking God for having the experience of my meatloaf. I must be doing something right. I don't like this consistency, so I'm going to add a little bit more bread.
I'm so glad you're talking about working with your hands. We do talk about that a lot on the Cooking Without Looking TV show because, I think all chefs cook with their hands. And I know Regina Mitchell, who's a chef, told us that. And I think she did that before she couldn't see well. And that was really profound because it's even more important when you can't see.
Absolutely. You know, when I was slicing the onion, I slide my thumb and my forefinger back as I'm cutting along the, you know, you have to be very careful. And a lot of people wear the like the steel cage gloves and so on and so forth. But I need to feel. In my grandmother's kitchen, you started with cutting bread and grating cheese at 3, 4 years old. I've been, you know, cooking with my hands my entire life, and you get the feel. And that's what I was saying about the ingredients as well. I don't really measure anything out. You know, I know in the palm of my hand what a teaspoon feels like. You know, and I've been cooking, like I said, since I'm 3 years old. So I don't really need to use a lot of tools. And I clean as I cook. So, you know, having this many bowls on the counter is a rarity. It almost never happens. You know, because I clean and use the same utensils and bowls as I'm cooking. So for us, I am going to sprinkle just a little bit more Worcestershire because I can smell as well. And
I'm going to give a little tip on that. For people who maybe aren't as comfortable with just shaking that bottle or the spices, I always keep I have a little set of little measuring cups here, different sizes. And I tend to, I'll pour stuff into my little one, and I'll pour something into like the quarter cup one, just so that I can kind of gauge, okay, how much is that?
You know, a standard shot size glass for liquids is a tablespoon. And I have a little like milk pitcher that you put out with a coffee service.
Yep.
And that's a quarter of a cup. So, you know, there are lots of tips and tricks.
Yeah.
And whenever I use something new, a spice or like something like a Worcestershire sauce, I just discovered Saucy Susan, which is amazing. I'll just stand over the sink and pour it over my hand so I get a feel for how much is coming out. All right, so this is what it should look like when you have your breading and everything thoroughly mixed within the mixture.
A nice smooth consistency.
Yeah, and so I'm going to take a chunk and show you what I mean. It's not falling off my hands. That's what you want. But it is extremely moist because you're going to lose, the bread is going to soak up. You're going to lose some of that moisture consistency. That's part of the reason why we cover it with foil until the last 15 minutes as well, so that you don't lose all of the moisture and end up with a hard baked.
That helps it steam.
Yeah. So at this point, I try to flatten it to the bowl as much as possible. And then, as you can see, these are my ripped up bacon strip pieces. And I just spread them out as evenly as I can across the top of the mixture. And then you're going to do one more really good mix to get the bacon really infused all the way through there.
You can still feel the bacon as chunks in there, right?
Yeah.
I thought so, yeah.
And depending on how you do, like I said, you know, the folks in this house, we love onion. So, you know, if you have larger pieces of onion, you'll feel those as well.
You don't saute your onions before you put it in your meatloaf, so it'll be nice.
I don't. No, some people do. They caramelize it and throw it in. It's just an extra step, and I have found over the years that it doesn't really do anything as far as the flavoring is concerned.
Really?
All right. So now we're going to build the meatloaf itself. There is one baking, and the alarm is going to go off to let me know pretty soon. So I'm actually going to transfer. I'm using just a cookie sheet with aluminum foil on it.
Okay.
Got the other pieces of onion. That's why it fell. All right. I'm going to use the cookie sheet to build it and then transfer it over when the other meatloaf is done, and I take it out and the pan cools down enough.
You got a special meatloaf pan.
Yes. Well, honestly, I have a big long Pyrex because if I'm making it, I'm making a couple of days worth. He's taking some for lunch. I'm making meatloaf sandwiches. You want to take a little bit more than half the mixture to build the base. And I'm actually gonna move this out of the way so you guys can see. And it's exactly what you think it is. It's the base of the meatloaf. So you want to build it out log style. And as you can see by the malleableness of it, it is pretty moist. But it's not, it's not, we want it at this point where it's not falling apart or melting away from the shape.
When you put it in a shape, it needs to stay that way, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so after I build the base, I then put a divot pocket all the way across and a couple of little divot pockets along the side. And that is for the mozzarella cheese.
Ah.
Basically, it's going to be like a log of mozzarella inside that's going to be nice and gooey when you cut into the meatloaf.
Oh, that's kind of interesting. I've never
It
had
sounds delicious.
Here is where I'm
Yeah.
skimping a little bit. I made 1 pound of bacon for both meatloafs. And if you look at the recipe, it's 2 pounds of meat to 1 pound of bacon. So instead of doing a layer, here I would put a layer of bacon on the bottom half and then build the top half around it. But I'm not doing that today because bacon is expensive. And
Isn't
honestly,
it?
I meant to get back to the store and didn't, and I wasn't going to do an order for just 1 pound of bacon. So at that point, we're going to take the rest of the meat and layer it across the top of our loaf, covering all of what would be the layered bacon as well as all of the cheese, thickening up the loaf as well. And then I kind of smooth it out and rebuild the shape to make sure that you have a consistent thickness throughout the meat, because you don't really have a way of testing the inside. You got going by the thermometer and by the feel of it.
Right.
So if your meatloaf is not a consistent thickness and width, then it's not going to cook evenly, and you'll get some pieces that might be undercooked in the center.
Do you use a meat thermometer?
I do.
Okay.
I do use a meat thermometer. And I take the foil off 15 minutes beforehand to give it that nice crunchy texture on the outside. So I'm going to hold it up. By feel, it feels pretty consistently thick and wide. Then I take whatever I have left from the bag of mozzarella and I press it along the top of the meatloaf.
You just sprinkle it all over, or do you put it in a confined area?
No, I just sprinkle it all along the top of the meatloaf and then gently press it into the meat itself. Gently press, because if you press too hard, then you're going to change the consistency of the loaf.
Right.
And just to make sure, I file along the sides of it to make sure I didn't press it down too much. And then I take the last few strips of bacon and layer it over the top of the cheese. Like I said, I would usually have a little more bacon, but we're going to be meatloaf for a while here. I'm actually having people over on Saturday to enjoy some of this meatloaf.
You'll have to let them watch a copy of the show too.
Absolutely. And voila, the loaf is actually ready to go in the oven. Computer, how much time left on the timer?
There are no timers set.
Computer, what time is it? Computer, what time is it?
The time is 3:26 p.m.
Okay. Well, 4 minutes, the alarm would go off. What else do you want me to talk about, Sylvia?
I don't know.
Do you cook over or do you work over the top of a tray by any chance?
Say that again, Alan?
Do you work over a tray so that
No.
when you spill, okay, okay. I kind of
Um,
like to work over a tray when I'm measuring things, especially.
I
Well,
work
just
on a
work in a
tray when
designated kind of area. And I think that's what you said. You have everything kind of in an area.
Yeah.
yeah, so we have a lip guard on the other side of this, so I can just move it. I can just use a rag and push everything into the lip guard. When I'm cutting vegetables, I use a tray, so that way they don't go rolling off.
Oh, that's good.
Maybe there are some audience members who have a question,
Yeah.
comment.
Yeah.
And me, honestly, while making this, I'd be sipping on wine, listening to Sinatra or Dean Martin.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah. And cleaning. I clean as I go.
That is a great thing. And I do that too. I do that too because
Right.
it's just, it really keeps you organized and you're not worried about like, you don't knock something over because you've already put, you finished it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
put stuff away as I go. Yeah.
We have
And
a
if you-
question from Alexandria Brito. Welcome, Alexandria.
Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh, great. No, love the recipe. Thank you. I'll definitely try it out. But my question is, when cutting, do you just use your knife or do you have any preferred choppers or recommended choppers, um, when
um,
cutting up vegetables?
no. And honestly, I would say anybody who's new to blindness or new to cooking should probably there's like cutting guards and
Mhm.
all different kinds of gloves and mini choppers. If you're not used to cooking, I would definitely recommend it. But I lost my sight 9.5 years ago, and I've been cooking my entire life. So, the skill set is there.
Yeah,
Um,
no, no, definitely. I've been
but I
cooking
do
for over
use
30 years. Yeah.
I do use the Ninja a lot for for cutting up bigger things or um when pretzels go stale, I'll turn them into like a breadcrumb mixture and
Yeah.
things like that.
And I use a mini chopper and a food processor, especially if I'm going to do a ton of cutting. I think Anthony's probably like me. There's just something cathartic about cutting.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've
Yeah,
been
once you
cooking for
get
over
into the
30
rhythm, it's
years.
bang, bang,
Yeah.
bang, 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 and like I said, I follow along with my
Yeah.
fingers. I would not suggest that to anyone who is not used to cutting.
Yeah.
Right.
We've got another question here from Paul Howard or Fashandra Howard. So it's one of you guys or both, right? Paul?
Hi, Renee.
Hey, Fashandra.
And Paul is here, and so are the girls, Orla and Irene. But what I wanted to ask, we came on a little late, so I didn't get the entire recipe, but I know I will get it. I want to know if you could substitute, like with regular meatloaf, substitute the beef for turkey, ground turkey,
Yes.
or chicken with
So
and then use all the other things.
absolutely. The meatloaf I'm actually making today is half ground beef and half
Code will
turkey.
lower your hand in 8 seconds.
I couldn't hear because his computer was talking. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I
And
said the
stop
meatloaf
over.
I'm making today is actually half ground beef, half turkey.
Oh, okay, awesome. I've done that before
Yeah,
too.
it does change the turkey does change the consistency a little bit. So you definitely, all the things Anthony talked about with making the consistency right really apply when you add that different meat.
Yeah, that's why you saw so much bread. Turkey is much more moist.
Yeah.
So, I use extra bread in this one. I've done it with a mixture of ground pork as well,
Mm-hmm.
a veal. I've done a ground pork, ground beef and veal as well. And the flavors are different, and it's
Yeah,
It's
I was going to
fine.
ask if it changed the flavor. I imagine it does.
Yeah.
You don't just taste Worcestershire.
No,
Mhm.
no. It done right, you don't really taste the Worcestershire. The Worcestershire brings out the flavor of the Montreal mix a little bit more. And then of course the bacon fat that's mixing within the meatloaf. But I think it is time. I'm going to turn my oven off. I would usually leave it sitting for a good 10 to 15 minutes in the oven
Mhm.
itself. But I'm going to put it back in the oven tonight for our meal. So I'll show you, drizzle the rest of the sauce over it.
Mark Thomas has a question for you, Anthony.
All right.
So what do you do for time and temp for cooking?
So temperature is 475. I always put it on for 50 minutes. Pull uh, at about 40 minutes, I pull the computer stop. See, it said there was no timer, but there was. um, I pull the foil off, and then at the 50 mark, that's when I start testing with both the fork and the meat thermometer. But like I said, I was not cooking this completely through because we're going to use this for dinner tonight.
And that's with 2 pounds of meat?
This is 2 pounds of meat.
That's higher than I would I normally cook it, but I like that because you cover it with foil and then you can get the nice crispy on the top when
Yeah.
you're done.
Yep. And like I said, you save that little extra bit. I wouldn't do it with ketchup, but if you're using, where did I see? This is why I clean as I go.
Lost the marinara sauce.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it with ketchup, but if you're using marinara sauce or crushed tomatoes, and again, it's hot, but I'm used to it, and I just kind of spread it out along the top for a little bit of extra flavoring.
So, Anthony, to Mark's point about you cooking it at 475, I only recently discovered about cooking over 400 and over. And I'm telling you what, it changes things. Things are better.
It does because you get a more thorough, consistent cooking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And you get less of that, spots of it being a little bit more cooked than other spots. You just get a more even, thorough cook.
You do.
Oh. So I'm going to hold up the finished product one more time. This went quicker than I thought.
Yeah.
You've done very well.
You did a lot of prep work in advance, which I think is really like a key to really good to making cooking a happier experience, is that you kind of get everything prepped early, and then it's just putting it all together. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I said that I try on Sundays to make 3 or 4 meals, sometimes I won't cook all 4 of them. Or if there's something like shrimp scampi, you can't cook that. I mean, you can, but the best flavoring for that is not the next day. It is right after you pull it out of the pan. So I'll do all my garlic, all my onion for the entire week based upon the meals that I want to make, and leave them in Tupperware in the refrigerator if it is a fresh meal that I want to make.
Awesome.
That was very well done, Anthony. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much. I hope folks will come and join Sylvia and I on Sunday edition. I'll put a lot of information out there, including a Zoom link for folks who want to talk to Sylvia about the book.
Okay.
Yes, no, thank you.
And I'll be over for dinner this weekend. No, I'm just
awesome.
I wish. Next time I'm in Miami, though.
Absolutely. And if you're ever coming down, Alan, let me know, and I'll have a meatloaf ready for you.
I'll keep that in mind. I am a meatloaf fan. That sounds great.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it.
What are we doing here? We having somebody? Well, anyway, Sylvia, what kind of a sweet treat are you going to make for us today?
Well, I'm going to do a really quick camera check because I moved my camera, so I want to make sure it's good.
Just
the
move
wrong
back
person
a little
to
bit.
ask.
Say again.
Just move back a little bit because we're not seeing your head.
How about that?
A little bit more, a little bit more. There you go. Okay, perfect.
Okay. So a month ago, I was scrolling through Facebook, and there's always a lot of great recipes being shared on the Cooking Without Looking Facebook page. I don't know if people notice, and I'm not sure if this came across that or another person, but there was this recipe that said 2-ingredient cake that involved a cake mix and a can of soda pop.
No.
And I was like, I am just super curious about this. Let's see if this works. And so my first cake I made was like with an almond cake mix with some root beer. And let me tell you what, I was shocked because it was so moist. So the soda, the carbonated drink, serves as like a leavening agent that replaces your eggs and your oil, and those bubbles kind of expand to create this incredible moist thing. It's shocking. It's shockingly good. Amazing. So, and then I won the Any Day cookware last month, which is beautiful cookware. It comes with four nice size, different sized dishes with lids. Anyway, so I said to myself, well, next time I prepare something on the Cooking Without Looking TV show, I'm going to use the Any Day cookware to thank our Any Day sponsors. So then I made a cake last week with a strawberry cake mix and strawberry soda. Delicious. And I did it in the microwave, and I cooked it for 6 minutes. Imagine that, making a cake in 6 minutes.
Just 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
Amazing.
6 minutes. So today I'm going to make a tropical cake. So I've got a banana cake mix and some pineapple soda.
Pineapple soda?
Pineapple soda. Pineapple carbonated soda.
Okay.
So, and I put my oil. I have all my stuff here. I literally put my oil inside the bowl here, so inside the Any Day cookware, so I wouldn't forget to put the oil in. So I'm gonna just put some oil in here, and I did a little Anthony there. I used my finger to feel how much was going in there. Now you can either use your hands to kind of move it around and make sure your whole surface is covered, or you can use a paper towel. A lot of people don't want to get oil on their hands. I have to say, if you're a person who don't want to get your hands dirty, cooking is probably not for you, right? Don't you agree? So I have a little bit of extra oil here, so I'm just gonna pour this out in my sink because I don't need that much. It was just a tiny bit extra, but it was extra. Now watch how easy this is. I am literally gonna put this cake mix. Already opened it up. I'm gonna pour this cake mix right into this dish. Banana cake mix, but you can use anything. Listen, you can do a chocolate cake with a Coke or cherry Coke. I heard it's really delicious with cherry Coke. Set that aside. Now, so because it's my birthday, that means I'm getting a little bit older, right? I have a little problem pouring these big bottles. So I'm going to pour this soda.
I don't buy those big bottles. They go stale before I get to use them all.
Oh, well, that doesn't happen. And by the way, you want your soda to be at room temperature. When you do this, you want your soda to, and it does not, you can't use flat soda. It needs to be, you do need to have it to be the carbonation with the bubbles. So I'm going to pour some into this glass because I really have a hard time pouring into the measuring cup at this point, just because my arms are a little older. I'm not old, but sometimes
29, right?
Sometimes heavy things are just hard for me to pour. So then I'm going to pour it into my measuring cup. Now, if you're using a cake mix, you could just use a can of soda. One box of cake mix 1 can of 12-ounce soda. But I didn't find the sodas in I didn't find pineapple soda in a can. So I'm measuring mine out, and I'm just pouring it into this cake here.
How much soda are you putting in there?
12 ounces. 1 cake mix, 12 ounces. Okay, so I just measured. I just put
soda
2.
Works out perfect.
Yeah, so it's super easy.
I'll try it.
Now I'm going to take my spoon. You don't, and I'm just going to stir. I'm going to stir a little bit. I'm not going to, you don't get a mixer out or anything. You're just going to use a spoon. You just want to make sure that the cake mix gets all the liquid. Now I'm going to have to use my hands, and y'all saw me just wash my hands because I can't really see all that powder if it gets covered with this.
I was going to say, how do you tell when it's mixed?
I'm going to use my hands. So I'm just mixing it really, really good. And you'll feel the texture of it changes. It gets that, if you've had, if you make cakes, it gets that kind of puddingy kind of a feeling. The puddingy feel. It gets that texture to it as you stir it. But you're not going crazy you're not whisking or anything. You're just kind of folding. That word, you remember that folding, how you just kind of keep getting it mixed in. So you're
trying not to lose any of the carbonation or very little.
Exactly, because that's what expands to make the moisture. So we're almost there. Almost there. Just feeling it. I just have so for anybody who can't see, I'm using my right hand to stir, and I have kind of my left thumb and my forefinger in there, pointer finger in there, just so I can kind of feel, is the texture getting to where I want it to? And now I'm gonna own something here, is that I always like to, I'm kind of like Anthony, with the cheese and the bacon. Sometimes just adding those extra things gives it a little extra, goodness. So this is where I want it. So let me just wash my hand here. I love working by the sink, and I have a little towel hanging here on my dishwasher. So I chopped up a little bit of a banana, some nuts, various nuts, and some coconut flakes I got here. And I'm just going to pour those in here too. So I'm going a little beyond my 2 ingredients just to give it that extra special deliciousness.
Your personal touch.
Just to make it extra special. So I'm going to mix that in a little bit in my any day cookware. And like Anthony was saying, taking my hands to feel to all those, you don't want a big clump of nuts and coconut all in one bite. Well, I might, but the average person might not want to bite in and get all that in one bite. And I didn't use a lot, just a little bit to give it some flavor or some extra little niceness. Gotta just get that. So guess what? I'm done. That quick. So now, just washing my hands. I'm going to grab the lid to the Any Day cookware. Now I'm going to tell y'all that the Any Day cookware is glass. So you kind of, or I don't know, I guess it's glass. It's breakable. So you got to be careful with it. So and when you cook with it, you make sure that the kind of the lid, there's a little lid, and you can press the lid, pull it up or push it down. And when you cook, you need to pull it up so that the steam gets out. And when you store stuff, then you push it down so that it stays fresh. So I'm going to put it on, the lid on, and I have my little lid pulled up. And I have a braille, my microwave is brailled, so I'm going to go run over here, and I'm going to put it in my microwave for 6 minutes. 6 minutes.
Just 6 minutes, okay.
6, can you even believe 6 minutes? Isn't that shocking? Somebody calls you and says they're coming over, you can have a cake be in 6 minutes. Here we go.
Maybe 10 minutes with prep.
Okay, with prep, yeah.
What's that
Where
all
it's going? Let me grab my finished product here for you. So I also, because I was making myself I made myself a chocolate mousse. I'm just going to turn that off so we don't have that background noise. I'll do it afterwards. I made myself a chocolate mousse for my birthday. And so I had to whip up all this heavy whipping cream, and I had some left over. So I created a quick little chantilly cream, which is nothing but a heavy whipping cream and something to sweeten it, like a confectioner sugar powder. But instead of that, I used a little amaretto infused honey. So my cake is right here, and it has the little amaretto infused honey chantilly cream on top. I'm going to take a bite so I can tell you how delicious it is. I'm going to take a bite to tell you how delicious it is.
Now, I'm a big fan of maple syrup. Would that work well?
For what? For what?
For your topping?
It is fabulous. A 10-minute dessert, including cooking. There you go. Fabulous. I don't know. Yes, I think you could do chantilly cream, or you could just put some maple syrup on top of it.
Yeah, it's a liquid rather than being a powder.
It might be a little hard. I love maple syrup too. Can y'all believe that? 6 minutes in the Any Day cookware creates this amazing cake.
It's still cooking, right?
I turned it off so you don't have the noise. And then, so what you do afterwards is you just let it sit in there I let it sit for 10 or 15 minutes. And then once it's getting a little bit cool, you can turn it out onto a plate to store it.
Is there different sizes of cake mixes?
No, they're all the same. Well, listen, sometimes there are some shrinkflation going on.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes. This was a 15.25 ounce cake. I know that because I asked Alexa how much specific soda stuff. So yeah. Any questions?
The average cake mix box and a 12-ounce can of soda.
Yep. That's it. No eggs, no oil, except for oil to grease, to just put on the pan.
Put oil in the pan, yeah.
And in the oven, if you do it in the oven, you just follow the instructions for whatever. Like if I did cupcakes one day with it, and you just do the cupcake time and temperature from the box.
I'm a big fan of the microwave. I love that. 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
Love it.
Now, what I will say is you kind of have to test that because the recipe actually said 6 to 8 minutes. So I've done different things to see where is it coming out the best. And for me, 6 minutes is what's come out best.
Hey, Sylvia, we have a question.
Okay.
Paul?
Yeah, does it matter if you use 0 sugar soda, or must it have regular soda?
I think it's just about the carbonation. It's just about it being carbonated.
Okay.
It could be any kind of soda.
All right.
As long as it's a carbonated.
Any cookware, any kind of soda.
Very good.
Yeah, you don't have to do it in the Any Day cookware either. But I wanted to try the Any Day cookware, and it worked great. I will also say about the Any Day cookware, it is the most amazing thing. It comes clean, so easy.
Yeah.
So, any other questions? So some other ones you could try are a yellow or white cake with orange soda. You get like a creamsicle cake. I don't know. The options are limitless. A lemon cake with Sprite.
We
Yeah.
have another question from Mark Thomas.
Okay.
Can you test for doneness with a butter knife like you would in a traditional cake
Yep.
mix?
And that's exactly what I did. Yep, that's exactly what I did. I also usually test for doneness with my hand first. Like I'll just do a little press down on the
Yeah, to see
cake.
if it kind of bounces a little.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be careful that it's not super hot. I will
Right.
also say that, cooking in the microwave, you do also have to be extremely careful, just like with the oven, because the pans get super hot, or the bowls get super hot. So you need to use. I'm a big glove person.
Hold Y hand
I'm
now
a
raised.
glove over here.
With lower hand.
I love my glove. So sometimes I'll use the glove and a pot holder just to pull stuff out. Yeah, but I use a butter knife to test it. Or you could use
So we will lower your hand to 8
what
seconds.
do you call it? Toothpick.
Toothpick
Sylvia?
works, yes.
We have another question from Paul Howard.
Okay.
Hi, this is Fashandra.
Hey, Fashandra.
Hi. So, it's really not a question. I was thinking in terms of cake, and the flavors, and I thought if you had like a chocolate cake mix, then you could add something like a cherry cola.
Yeah, they say that's delicious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for the
Dr.
chocolate
Pepper.
level.
Or ooh, yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Dr. Pepper, but
I bet that would be good
Oh,
because
yeah.
those flavors will enhance the chocolate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I will tell you, you don't really you're not going to get a heavy taste of the soda at all.
Mm-hmm.
At all. It's very subtle. It's very subtle.
Well, tomorrow is Paul's and my 16th wedding anniversary.
Is he getting a soda
Congratulations.
pop cake?
Congratulations.
Yes, and the meatloaf.
Oh, okay.
A cooking without looking anniversary.
It's a first for everything. It's with the any day cookware that I have.
6 minutes in the microwave.
Wonderful. Renee, do we have any more questions?
No, we do not. I think we're ready for the big reveal here on who wins any day cookware.
Sylvia, thank you so much. I'm going to try that. That sounds simple like I like. Anyway, Renee, are you going to read us the winning name and who's drawn the ticket and all that?
Yes, I am. But first, I have to ask. I've got there are 3 people who are not entered. It's Eugenia, Paul, and Chef Rick. Do you guys want to be entered?
I bet you they do, Renee.
I bet they do.
I am just throwing those.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, we'll just throw those babies in. And Eugenia, do I know you?
Yeah, this is Eugenia. Hi. Yes, please.
Okay, all right. And I'm asking you if I know you because I had a roommate in college whose name was from Eugenia and she was from Hong Kong. So I didn't know if you were the same Eugenia somehow.
Oh, no. I've never been to Hong Kong.
Okay, well, that's a beautiful name anyway. So here we go.
Thank you.
I'll mix these babies in my everyday cookware. Let's see, close my eyes. Oops. Okay.
And who is our lucky winner this month?
Robin Mayer? Robin?
Robin, are you here?
Robin.
Yes, I am. I can't believe it. Yesterday was my birthday. Tuesday was my birthday.
Oh, congratulations. Happy birthday.
And you're
Wow.
going to love this cookware. I'm telling you, I love it.
Great.
Robin, just email me or message me your mailing address, okay?
To Renee?
Yes, that's Renee.
Okay. I will. I'll do it now.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you to our Anyday Cookware sponsors. Thank you very much for helping us out. And thank you both Anthony and Sylvia. Meatloaf and cake for dessert. I love it. And thanks to all of you who've taken the time to join us today for the Cooking Without Looking TV show. The Cooking Without Looking show marvelous meatloaf and any day, 2-day ingredient, any day microwave soda cake edition. Did I do that right? I sure hope I did.
Cake. That's what Renee called it.
If you would like any of today's recipes, as well as any of our past recipes, please go to our website at www.cookingwithoutlookingtv.wordpress.com. Sylvia?
If you want to see any today's show or any past shows, same. Go to www.cookingwithoutlookingtv.wordpress.com.
Or you could go to a YouTube channel.
Or that too. Even better.
And you can also check out our Cooking Without Looking podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or anywhere where you get your favorite podcasts. We're also available on all Alexa-enabled devices and on the Victor Reader. Sylvia? Wow, I'm having a hard time.
To support Cooking Without Looking and Vision World Foundation, go to the website, cookingwithoutlookingtvshow.wordpress.com, and click on the PayPal link, which is near the top of the page. And if you want more information, call Renee at 305-200-9104.
And everyone can look for our next show in September. So thank you so much for being with us today. On behalf of myself, Sylvia Stinson Perez, happy birthday once again, and Renee Rentmeester, and all of us on the Cooking Without Looking TV show, and Vision World Foundation. As Annette would say, bye for now.
And don't forget to order your Cooking Without Looking apron. Visit the website.
You want to see what we do best?
We got the recipe for success. We don't need sight to make something good tonight. We're all in the kitchen. We're gonna show you what we got.